There we go. Come on in. Alrighty, so
Is that Paige?
this is Paige.
Hello.
Paige. I love what you're creating. I love it.
Yeah, it looks so good.
Nice to hear.
She is a super. She's the lady that did. Did you get your card, by the way?
Did I what?
Did your card come?
Your Valentine's Day card.
Oh, yes. It came yesterday, actually.
Oh, yesterday.
A little behind there.
Oh, no.
Maybe the
Let me get
There
Paige.
we go.
There you go.
Oh. There we go. Oh, look, she's got it.
That was fun.
That's beautiful.
All Paige's work. She drew all of those characters. So,
Yeah.
Very good. Very good.
can you spot us? Can you tell who we are in that?
Oh, pretty much, because there's extra people that we haven't met. But of course, I recognize you and Debbie. And this is Anam.
That's
Yeah.
Anna. Yeah.
And then I wasn't sure. Like when I first looked at this one, I thought this was Paige.
It is.
Uh-huh. And I wasn't sure if this was Aaron.
No,
Or if-
that's Andrea.
I see. I don't know who that is.
She's another one of our WordPress designers.
Yeah. But this had to be Lindsay.
Yeah.
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 Erin's at the second row, right at the end.
Oh,
In the
over
pink
here.
shirt. Yeah, I just that's
okay,
right. That's
okay.
don't look like this. Yeah.
This had more people than I knew what to do with.
Okay, so in that is Susan, who's our PR person that you might have seen on some of the boot camps. Willie, who does our SEO. He's a backroom nerd. Pollux is our local videographer, the Chinese guy.
Uh-huh.
And then Eileen as well, obviously with the purple hair. She's
Oh.
is our social media. Is anybody else on that card?
No, but we didn't.
Jamie is our other social in
Yeah.
the bottom right. So
Yeah.
yep, that's the team.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And it's got Paige's name on the back.
Yeah.
That's how I met her at a trade show. Straight out of grad school for design. They all had their own booth. They all had their own portfolio. I kept it because this was her business card that she gave me. She made a presentation to me online. We interviewed via Skype. Modern ingenuity, old world charm. Was your
That
tagline
was my
back in the day.
tagline. Yeah.
So
Not bad.
3 years, my friend.
Yeah.
Alrighty. So just to give you some updates, obviously you've seen the character profiles. Got my screen in a minute.
Oh, can I interrupt? Can I interrupt? Jonathan, will you please show Paul your quill?
Oh yeah, of course. Yeah, there is a real story here, Paul. One sec. Screen. So I have a real quill and a real ink pad. And my dad was Lord Mayor of the Isle of Man. And the year that he was Lord Mayor, Her Majesty, the Queen of England, came to his chambers and signed the book. And this was the quill that Her Majesty used.
Wow.
And it was in my dad's cabinet of trinkets and trash, as everybody has. And when my dad passed away, I went, I really want that. So that is a real quill,
cool.
properly carved out, and the ink pot that had the ink when the Queen signed his register.
That's
Or his visitor's book. So I have a real quill.
He has a quill.
You not?
No, that's so cool.
And then to finish it off,
Oh yeah.
this is a bit scary, but that was my dad back in, whenever it was, 1992 or something, when he was the mayor. So,
Awesome.
and I have pictures of, lots of pictures of my dad and stuff. But yeah, I have a real quill, and I have a locket from my mom. Funny, Kim and I were talking about that too. And,
Yeah, there's a locket. And I haven't heard if the crow has been to visit him lately.
no, I haven't seen him all week.
Oh, He's in another universe.
But yeah, maybe. But it's not snowing right now. I bet you tomorrow when it snows and I put food out again, he'll come visit.
Yeah.
I guess it was just meant to be. This was all meant
It was surreal because I was literally reading the book, and every time I'd look up on my window, he was, because I have a tree pretty high up because I'm on the second floor, looking out south, and it was literally, he's right here, and I was taking pictures on my phone and sending it to Kim as we were chatting. So that was kind of cool.
Thank you. I appreciate the diversion.
Yeah, so if you want to do anything more with the quill design,
Mm.
I'm not sure what I think it's a swan's feather, I think,
Yeah,
but I'm not sure.
that's so
It's
neat.
too big for a seagull.
Yeah,
Pretty sure they're swans.
that's so cool.
How was your vacation, Paul? You got back in one piece?
got back. It was awesome. It was
Yeah.
great.
He was very productive.
Really?
In having fun.
I was gonna say, that's not a vacation.
I
Where did
did.
you go?
I told Jonathan that I think this was one of the first times ever that I didn't even read my emails.
Wonderful.
Yeah, it was different. It was fun. I was like, I could get used to that.
No,
I was just like, oh, I hope Kim doesn't hate me when I get home.
Oh, we kept it going, didn't we, Kim?
We did.
We had a really fun story time. So
We did.
we want to book you in for yours. So
Do it. I have a quick question before we get started today. I have a friend in one of my groups, and I've been talking about you. I've been talking about this marketing company, and she's interested and wants to talk to you guys. What's the process? Does she start with Erin or you, or how do you do that?
it would typically start with Erin, yeah. And then we have, if she's interested, we have an intake form, which you probably remember filling in. And then once we have that, then Erin sets up a call and I Zoom with her and away we go. Yeah. Thank
So
you.
Erin, her name is Gemi,
Okay.
Gemi, and I will just give her your information.
Yeah,
Okay?
sure. And I mean, and where is she? She's in the same location as you?
She's in California. She's in just
California?
close to Beverly Hills.
What does she want quickly?
She's developed a program.
Okay.
She has like modules and videos, and it's health related. And she's ready. She's just finished all the recording, and she's ready to get it out now. She's hired a salesperson to sell it, and I think she's ready for this step now.
Cool.
Oh.
Okay, well, I'll email you and get her phone number and contact information, and then we can go from there.
Okay,
Awesome.
great.
Thanks. So that's great. Thanks, Paul.
And I think we're about to start working with Angie as well, Tomlinson.
Mhm.
So I've had 2 calls with her and she has a proposal and yeah, she did the whole boot camp and then she realized just how much she didn't have.
You're welcome.
It's amazing. Go figure, hey, how things come around.
Yeah, we have been, Angie and I have talked about that a couple of times, about how that giving has come around full circle to everyone's benefit.
It's wonderful.
Mm-hmm.
I saw a picture yesterday of Bob Proctor with the author, is it Peggy? In a private jet, the 2 of them with these beautiful leather seats about to go off somewhere. It's like,
He's always in his jet. He's always doing stuff from his jet by the window and doing his
yeah,
daily mantras out to his Instagram family and stuff.
it's pretty cool.
Instagram.
Love that jet.
Gotta love it. Gotta love it. Okay, so if I can carry on.
Carry on, please.
So what Lindsay has done is she's coded a custom page for you, which is the beginning of the WordPress. Right now it's still on our server, which is WP Engine here. But as soon as you're ready, then we can turn the logo, actually turn the domain on. We have it linked to Drip and so on. What we really need to decide about is what we just say here in terms of what we're going to give them in exchange for the email. And then we can turn that live. And then the Facebook page is ready to go too as soon as, again, we get that ready. So that's those 2 pieces there to begin with.
And we know that you want to do an assessment, like a quiz type of thing, which is great. But we also think we can get this coming soon page up before that's ready. And that could be the next step and build it out.
I have some copy that I just need to find it, and I'll get that sent. I'll send it to Kim. We discussed it once long ago with
Aiden.
Aiden. Yeah, I couldn't remember his name. And so we'll just do that, and then we can send it to you. And it doesn't include anything about like a quiz or anything. It's just like a generic thing, and then we can move forward with whatever we're going to do with the quiz.
Yeah.
Perfect.
I want something up right now.
That's great. But we checked the responsiveness of the site on different browsers and mobile, and so it all works. We've got a privacy statement that we'll drop into that for government GDPR compliance and everything. So it's all built and ready to flip the switch.
Great.
Yeah. One thing I'm very excited about, and Paul, you sent us this link, was share again, was something looking like this, where the 6 characters could be, there, and each have their own page and so on. Obviously, we've got the silhouette to begin with, but that's super exciting to have something like that.
When I saw that, so here, this was my logic, my rationale. I was like, okay, when Lindsay was like, find experiential marketing and on websites, and I'm like, well, what are the big things right now with characters, and and so then I thought about Captain Marvel and just all this Avengers stuff, and that's huge. And so I was like, well, what do they do? And I was like, whoa, this is awesome.
Exactly right.
Close, yeah.
I was like, let's just mimic this.
Yeah, no, for sure. I mean,
put our own spin on it,
Yeah, I love that idea, and it's exactly what we could do, because the 6 columns, the 6 characters. I mean, it's right there already.
Yeah.
Yeah, and then we can go.
I don't have a problem with how ours are silhouettes. I mean, there's.
Yeah.
I don't think there's an issue there. Once we have movies, then we can swap it out for the characters who play them, the actors. But
One fictional series I loved years ago was the Shannara Chronicles. I read these literally when I was on my honeymoon way back in the day. But I found a site called Fandom, and they have every single book and character registered. So at some point when the book is ready, I don't know what, maybe Aaron, you could explore this, but the application process could be. But
Sure.
if we could get a listing in this page, I think that would be cool. I read this book in 87 and this came out in 85, but fabulous books. But there's something like that might be a good listing for us. And obviously when we go to good old Harry, I mean, this site is just a thing of beauty, but the fact pieces that we could do for each of the people, we could definitely put into that. And as and when graphics become, like you had that picture of the library, Paul, originally, which seemed exactly what I would have thought of when I was reading the book. We could start to maybe put some of like the maze and the library and the
and Kim sent me a lovely list of all the scenes in the book, so we can start with that.
Yeah. So I was interesting here how it went from the graphics, and then as you got into it, then it turned into the pictures. So I guess as the movie eventually comes out, then we can do that. But we might be thinking a couple of weeks down the road just yet.
That's okay.
It'll be here before we know it.
Exciting. Yeah. And then obviously we've got the 6 icons, so that when we go to Instagram and we start doing stories, we can have each of the icons behind stories like we're talking about today on the call. And very exciting. So I think the next hurdle we need to cross, Lindsay, is the giveaway for the email, right?
So 2 things on my list is the giveaway really, and also the drip email campaign itself. So it's wonderful that we get people onto that email list, but there's some copywriting and some strategy behind what they're going to get once they're on it, and things like segmenting it. And do you want people to choose which character, and then they end up on a segmented list that has specific emails for that character? So it's a big, big picture, but we can start a little smaller, but we need something to go out first.
Okay. So can you walk us through like what your recommendations would be? And then that can help us, then we can focus on the content.
Mm-hmm. So normally we get people to do this in a big Google Doc or something that you guys are comfortable writing together, something you can collaborate on and maybe bring us in as well. And you can pick, if you were to do a quiz where they choose what character they fit into, you might want to then be segmenting even just for the experience that they get, where they get 3 or 5 or whatever it is, emails that are very specific to what they've chosen, because then they're feeling like it's really tailored to them. But yeah, so figuring out how deep down we're going to segment and how often the emails are going to go out, and even that first email, welcome and what to expect. And are we going to send emails from the characters or from the authors? Those are some of the decisions. Like, what is that whole experience?
Mm-hmm.
I could see emails coming from the Crow. So
Yeah.
Well, he has an email address.
really?
He does, yeah. His is the only one, because our original plan was, as part of the interaction, is that you could email and interact with your favorite character. And the first one that we set up was Balcazar. So I'd have to test it and see if it's working, but I think it points to Paul.
Yeah, it works.
It works? Okay.
Oh.
And when you go into Drip, the way I guess maybe Paul set it up in the first place is it's already set up to auto-respond as Balcazar. Kind of
okay. Yeah, telling me.
Yeah, so that's our original, like our ClickFunnels guy who put that together, and we are happy to put you in touch with him if you want to know how it's set up or what is set up or limitations or any of that. He's just waiting for me to say that you're ready. He's on board to talk with you if you.
Well,
choose to.
We don't need him to do that.
But that's not what I'm saying.
Okay, but I'm just saying they don't need Aiden to do anything with Drip.
That's not what I'm saying. I understand that.
Okay. Well, you just said you would get them in contact with Aiden.
I said what I'm saying is if they need to talk about how it was constructed or what's behind it, he's available.
Got it.
And is Aiden, has he built out a ClickFunnels thing? Is he building it out? Can you tell me more about that role he's playing or going to play?
We put him on hold.
So from my understanding, he's built or set up the initial infrastructure. If we get his contact info, at least Lindsay, you can get a quick rundown from him, what he's done, how he's got it set up to work, and then we can take it over from that, like from him. Like we're just going to take it over.
Okay.
Yeah.
So I don't know that really anything was set up in Drip because we didn't have anything. His main focus was a funnel, but really we needed a website.
Mm-hmm.
And so it was kind of jumping the gun. And so that's mainly what he's done, is kind of set up a funnel. He did set up the email for Balcazar with our GoDaddy accounts. And so we do have that. And I have I'm paying the monthly fee to Drip and ClickFunnels, So, I mean, I think it's just, I don't think I don't know that we're ready for a ClickFunnels yet, so.
Is that the $97 one you're paying?
It is, yeah. I was actually going to call them and see if I could put it on pause for a bit.
That'd be good. Yeah.
I mean, it's a really effective program in the right places. Yeah, I feel like you're right. We're not there.
Yeah.
I was talking to somebody yesterday, and she was on the $297 program and had been for 6 months and hadn't used it once.
Oh,
So
no.
many people come in with ClickFunnels and they don't know what to do with it. Yeah.
Yeah.
And we did the smaller one. I think it's $49 for Drip. And then it gives you a certain number of emails, and if you surpass that, then it just automatically bumps you up in pricing. So that was kind of nice how that worked. But so I think that so I just want to. Can we talk about something? So when we're talking about, okay, so we had an idea for a quiz. Okay, so I want your opinions on this. So do you think that, you know, pre-book launch, before anyone reads a book, do you think that it's strategically wise for us to do a quiz on a person and then segment based off of that person? Or do you think it's better to keep it broad? Are we narrowing that funnel too soon if we do that?
I don't understand your question.
So when we do a quiz and they say you're like Sydney, what we will do is we do follow-up emails with that through Drip that are automated. And so we have to decide if Jonathan did the quiz and he identified with Sydney,
that wouldn't surprise me, but yeah.
Does he get into, do we only send him emails about Sydney, or do we keep it broad?
Broad.
Definitely broad to begin with. Yeah.
There is something big to be said for people wanting a personalized experience, and especially in email, but I would only use it to improve the experience of that customer or that person. And then maybe they could get 3 that are really specific and they could be spaced out a little bit.
Yeah, like both. So that you have broad and then you go more honed in once they're really identifying, or.
Well, and just keep them on the main email nurture list, but they could have some, it's more of a gift, like a feature that you're giving them. It doesn't necessarily take us too much time to set that up. What do you think, Jonathan?
Yeah, I mean, when people sign up for the first email, the least amount of information we ask of them, the higher the rate of acceptance. So it would literally just be first name and email, typically to begin with. The more times you ask for surname, postcode, age, the more questions, the less likely are people will give us that email at all. And it's dramatic. I mean, it goes from like 70% to 20% within 5 questions. So the least amount of questions, the better. But the second part is, as we get some information out there and they're enjoying it and we can look at the read rates, what we can do is we can segment from the people who have actually opened the emails and then we know they're interested, and then we can go deeper and then have a more general way of doing it to everybody. But then the people that are actually opening them and clicking on them, we can start to actually be strategic in our conversation with them, but also in the general one, just let people know what's going on and how sort of Team Jacob and Team, who was it, Jacob and Edward. Back in the Twilight days, how that worked. Yeah.
So basically what we had done months ago was that, like, here's our email sign up page, and it's very generic, that just said, give us your email address and we'll send you information, updates, you know, blah, 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 very generic. And so if I'm understanding, we would do that, and we'd have a generic drip system where we craft emails and we decide how often we're going to send those. And then let's say, so let's say maybe the second or third email or let's say we do a post to Facebook a couple weeks later and we have a quiz and they identify with the character, then they'll get our generic emails, and if they identified with Sydney, they'll get stuff pertaining to him. Is that kind of what you're saying?
Yeah, absolutely can. Yeah. I mean, typically, when we ask for emails in the first place, we like to give something in exchange. Sometimes, some people, it's the first 2 chapters of the book, or an audio file, or I mean, it could all be just because the book's launching and it's exciting, and they're going to get first dibs on the launch. Maybe that's the gift.
I'm thinking, yeah, like the sooner we can get people, I know you guys don't want to, like, I don't know what your strategy is in terms of reading, but we got to get people starting to get excited about reading the book.
Well, we can certainly do the characters before the book, right? So that people can get to see the people behind the scenes. They're great characters.
Well, and it's really interesting too, because you've just touched on something, Jonathan, when you said audio files, because Balcazar has a voice, and we already have him recorded. So, so Balcazar could welcome them in his own voice.
Cool.
James Earl Jones?
No.
The British version.
He is British. It's a journalist, friend of mine who lives in London, and he loves being the voice of Balcazar.
Oh, my word. Oh, audio is absolutely where it's at.
Would you like to hear him?
Yeah.
Okay, hold on. It is a little bit slow. This particular recording is a little bit slow. Well,
greetings. Please permit me to introduce myself. My name is Balcazar, and I am a crow. I'm here to tell you a secret. Well, a secret to some people. Here it is. Your mind possesses 6 wonderful gifts. They're often referred to as your mental faculties. These faculties are one of the things that separate man from animal. Not from me, of course, for I am a superior crow. I not only possess, but have mastered the use of each mental faculty. While many animals are quite intelligent, and at times seem to have a supernatural understanding of life, animals do not enjoy these 6 gifts that human beings possess.
so anyway, that gives you
That is awesome.
Okay, so I have a 12-year-old here right now, and he just literally came in from the other room. So host, just so you know, he doesn't know, but he just was like.
That is so awesome that you've got that in place. So I did not know that.
Yeah, so anytime, we can just write anything and he'll record it and send it. The trick is, and I've played with this one in particular with Audacity to speed it up, because he does have a tendency to speak a little slowly and it kind of drags. But we can certainly do.
Such a good voice. It's so perfect.
It's a great voice.
Perfect.
So would he do the entire audiobook as well then, when you do
Well,
that?
it's interesting that you would say that, because he just recorded his own audiobook for a book that he wrote.
Lovely. It's such a great idea to get it recorded. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I am a huge audiobook consumer. It's fair when you say I read the book by listening, but I do. I much prefer to listen than sit and read.
Yeah.
That's why it takes me so long because I have to print it out, because my attention deficit is terrible. But multitask me, drive, go for a hike, have earbuds in, I can do it all.
Yeah.
And the books that you can't find on Audible, it's kind of shocking that they're not on Audible. Like, why didn't you do an audiobook?
Yeah.
More and more, right?
Especially the Gary Vaynerchuk's of the world, and it's him doing his own audiobook is just fantastic.
So, Lindsay, you just have to tell me what you want, and we'll, agree on some copy, and we can turn it really quickly.
I love it. Okay.
So this is for the freebie then, for the fill-in. Okay.
Yeah, we can do whatever it is, whatever we want to do with that voice, we can do.
So we could have him do a verbal description of each of the 6 characters then.
Whatever we want.
We could do little videos on Insta or other social with the voiceover.
Yeah, even the Facebook cover picture could have a little bit of voice when they land on it.
Mm-hmm. You just gotta tell me what you wanted to say.
So cool. You've got the best voice for this. Love it.
Nothing beats a British accent.
To sound intelligent.
So what do you guys think is an appropriate gift for a giveaway for that first getting their email address? Like, if we don't want to give away, if we don't want to say, here's chapter 1, you know, or like what is an appropriate?
I wonder if you look at music marketers now, like Ariana Grande had some pretty awesome launches with her records. You can look back at them. She had things like there were scavenger hunts or products. I have to look into it a little bit more, but it was very experiential. It was if you found a product and you took a picture of it and put it on Instagram or something and tagged her, like there was just this back and forth kind of. So a lot of this is like sign up to join our special club or sign up to join our, you know, whatever you're doing. It's this intimate little group that you can join. Maybe something around that.
I mean, even the introduction to the book where he's speaking, it's like, greetings, how lovely to see you. Thank you so much for picking up a copy of my book.
Mm-hmm.
Thank you so much for being interested about my book that is due to come out later this year. And we could just change that line. Mm-hmm. Oh dear, where are my manners? Permit me to introduce myself. I am. Mm-hmm. That would be awesome because instantly you're in.
Yeah, people. I agree with you, Jonathan. I get, and I like your idea, Lindsay, too. But everybody knows Ariana Grande from her music already, so then they're going to want to engage in all those cool, you know, things that she's doing on top of. But I think the best thing would be to get somehow a bit of your book out, like as a teaser, because that's going to start the buzz, I think. So yeah, the forward would be awesome.
There could be something more around joining a club. So Balcazar could be inviting people into a club, and we could have a content plan for they get a video every week, or there could be just exclusive content, really, and it can be the backstory behind the story, or.
I really like that idea of something exclusive. People like being in the know, and they like knowing things that nobody else knows, you know, like the inner secrets of stuff.
Yes.
So I really like that idea. And I think at one point, Jonathan had even suggested a private Facebook group.
Yes.
You know, which I really like that idea.
Okay.
We can absolutely do that. There'll be a closed group rather than private, but yes.
And then you want to figure out what you're going to do in that club, because they do take a lot of nurturing. They take a daily showing up and going live on camera or whatever it is. Daily audio.
But in time, that would be another level of engagement, is once they've got a couple of emails and the character, then we invite them to join the private Facebook group and like the page.
Okay.
Yeah. Like it. That voice is
still for the email opt-in. Why do we still haven't nailed that?
Say again?
Well, I think that seems like we're liking the idea of the exclusive club. Join the exclusive club, and so maybe we can figure out what exactly the benefits are to that, because they can always change, but we can start with.
Yeah. It could be, and you get an assessment of which, maybe this is too far, but you get an assessment of which character you are, and then you get private emails from that character, like building out what that package is that they can get.
And also the fact that they're going to be first in line for getting the book when it comes out. So they'll be getting the email first to be able to buy it before anybody else, or because there's only going to be a limited number of first editions. Maybe the first 1,000 people get a signed copy.
Yeah. Or win a signed copy.
Yep.
Also winning experiences like meeting the authors or something like that.
Yeah, early access to the audiobook when it comes out. Meet the author. I mean, with Peggy, did she talk about doing an actual physical launch in a Barnes & Noble or anything like that or anything?
She says that's old school.
Yeah.
Really?
That you don't do that.
I did it a long time ago with Terry Waite. Do you remember him?
Yes.
He was the Archbishop of Canterbury Special Envoy, and he ended up being a Beirut hostage for 5 years because of Oliver North, if you remember those days.
Mm-hmm.
Wow.
And I opened I probably never even told you the story. I opened a bookstore in the year 2000. and ran it for 2 years before I moved to Canada. And he officially opened my bookstore. And we sold more copies of his books that day than he had ever sold anywhere in England, including Canterbury Cathedral and York Minster and all the places that you would think the Archbishop's envoy would sell more books. We sold them out.
Yeah.
But it is kind of old school.
But yeah, that was 19 years ago.
Sometimes old school actually wins these days, right?
Yeah, I think that it's probably, I think that her thing is like for a first-time author, she's like, you can spend all this money going around the country. You can, go to these launches and do these events, but it's not as effective as getting online and doing stuff.
Understood.
So that's probably more how I should have worded it.
Yeah, no, understood. Yeah, no, I'm with you. Okay. So first edition access, the assessment, chance to win their own signed copy in the mail, an opportunity to do a Zoom call with the authors.
Yeah, there you go.
We could do that. First dibs of the audio copy download, which...
Ooh, and teachers could win a Zoom call with the authors for their class or something. We could go ahead and
Nice. There's going to be merchandise as well, isn't there, with the crow on the t-shirt?
We have talked about merchandising when it gets really big. All the things, because you could merchandise every gift, you could merchandise things from the scenes, you could have crows and little doll characters. There's just no...
But even a t-shirt with the 6 silhouettes and another one with the crow, I wouldn't say wait till it gets really big. I would believe it is already really big and they would get that opportunity to buy. Yeah. And you can do them on demand printing. You don't have to print 1,000, have them in a warehouse anymore or anything like that.
Wow.
Right?
Yeah, we could put them up on something like Threadless where all you have to do is upload the digital file and boom, it's available.
Wow. Make stuff happen.
That's basically what they do with our book. It's print on demand.
Yeah,
yeah, exactly.
The concept is the
same. I think this is your size, Kim. It's coming your way.
Yay!
Yeah, you won't miss you in the barn.
No.
This actually might be better than for the barn.
Oh, that is so cute.
We like to think of ourselves as a national brand, and when I send this, I'm spoiling the drip campaign here, but when I send this kind of thing out, people just love it.
Mm-hmm.
Love it.
People love free stuff.
Especially if it's good quality.
Yeah.
Erin got very excited yesterday. She got a little parcel in the mail, didn't you, honey?
Yes, I did. I finally got my coat, and I've been wearing it today. We just came back from quick lunch. I was wearing it. Yep. Love it.
So, yeah, even if we mocked up some T-shirts in one of the email campaigns and they could see that the new merchandise is coming.
Could be even win some of the merch. Right?
Yeah.
So I guess we got to narrow this down for like the initial, what are we doing?
Well, at this point, we're brainstorming. And we could probably write up a list and then make that list a little more formal from this point, I think.
Yeah. I'm writing it all down, but we'll do that for sure.
Erin keeps us all organized. Jonathan and I.
Yeah, I'm always jumping the gun.
No.
Well, and it's helpful for me too. I can't write fast enough. Paul's a much better note taker than am I.
Well, that's why we Zoom every call and then we go back and pick it all up. So.
Yeah.
Well, those are good ideas. I feel like that's a good start. We'll be able to figure stuff out.
Yeah, we can.
Yeah, there's a lot if you just leave it open like that.
So Lindsay, if you would please, just to kind of calm my nerves, how often are you anticipating that we should come up with something new and creative? For the as we move forward, like for the Facebook group, for
So a Facebook group. So you guys were actually a little excited when we talked about blogging a few weeks ago.
Uh-huh.
So actually, can I put the question to you, what kind of ideas that you had when you were talking about blogging? Because a lot of it comes from your big ideas, and how can we make those into bite-sized pieces?
And the next blog course starts mid-May, by the way, as well, which will be coming your way as well.
You'll be too famous by then.
Oh, how to write a blog?
We have a whole course on that.
Oh, cool. Okay.
With this very smart lady with a background in journalism teaches.
But you had some ideas, and I had never actually got a chance to hear you.
Well, so when I think about the blogging, I think about the ideas that come to my mind are related to the faculties. And so there, we can blog about imagination. We can blog about, memory, and perception and perspective, and all those six faculties. And I feel like that each one of those, there's so many splinters off of that. And like, I sent an email to Kim last night of I recorded the narrative at the beginning of the fireworks at Disneyland, because it talked about imagination and following your dreams. And I was like, this is so weird that, we just see this stuff everywhere now. And so it's like, I look at it like a very organic thing. Like, I have something like that happen, and I get on and I write just a quick blog about it. I do a Facebook thing. I do, with the fireworks or whatever. That's how I see that. I see us encountering these things daily in our lives. And I'm not saying write a daily blog, but I see an endless ideas for blogs.
Perfect. So some of those could be documenting your life and using them for Facebook and Instagram, and now your Facebook group, right? One a day. I think the more you get into that content mindset, if you have those big themes and you're looking for those 6 big themes, that's not too, it can even just be a shot of something pretty outside, and you tie it in with a couple sentences about inspiration.
Okay.
And then that's kind of what Jonathan's amazing at, is he's amazing at throwing over ideas to you, or responding to your ideas, and just coming in and looking over your shoulder and saying
content.
Yeah.
Okay.
So supply chain wise, if they're supplying these ideas, so with you, Lindsay, they're giving you the blog stuff, or you're reviewing that stuff. As far as social posting, obviously there's going to be stuff that Kim and Paul are going to be coming up with, feeding back and forth with Eileen, and Eileen will be also creating posts and running by them for approval.
Yep.
So I guess, Kim, your question is, when do we start anticipating us needing all this?
No.
Okay.
No.
Okay.
No, my question is, just give me a rough idea of how many things a week we're creating, because we're going to want to have some ramp up time.
Yeah.
Don't you think, Paul?
Do you think you could ramp up those blogs? I mean, there's 6 ideas. Maybe we could do some of those 6 ideas so that we have 3 that we could start with, and then 3 in the hopper.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
That would be wonderful. That also gives us something to work with. Yeah.
Could you ramp up your how to write a blog class?
You can join it right now. It's all recorded.
Didn't you send us something?
Okay.
Did you send us something in one of those documents?
I'm not sure. I may have sent you the ideal clients. I'm not sure. Sorry.
In the one where we had to write the ideal client and 10 questions, was there?
Yes.
There was a bunch of stuff after that, and if I remember right, it might have been about writing a blog.
Yes. So it is about writing a blog. So my biggest advice to you is dump it all in, get your first draft done, and then send it over to me. And I'm really good at shaping.
Okay.
So let's not worry about that.
And you'll find that we're really fast learners. So
yes, I know.
we'll do this, and you'll tell us, and then we'll get it down really fast. So
perfect. Yeah.
Okay.
So Lindsay, you said 3 and 3. Is that what you said?
Yeah, if they could get a jump on a few and then we had some to run with, they could go on LinkedIn, we could parse them up into social media. They'd be wonderful to have. And 6 is a lot. 1 blog every 2 weeks is quite a lot for producing, right?
Okay, so 3 for now. 3 you're saying.
3 is a pretty good one to shoot for.
Okay.
1 for now would be fine.
Okay.
So I guess that's kind of going along with what Kim asked, just to kind of get an idea of the workload and workflow.
Mm-hmm.
So blogs, you're saying 1 every 2 weeks?
I think if you had a few already done,
Right.
and we aim to get 6 blogs up in the first 6 to 12 weeks, Jonathan, then we'd be kind of doing a barrage of these ideas. They'd be coming out, but we want to have them kind of ready to go.
Yeah.
Some of them.
And then, like when we launch Facebook, like how many Facebook posts a day or week, or what do you say there? Or do I not need to worry about this?
We're doing that for you to begin with, obviously.
Okay.
I don't think
you're going to ask us for content.
Oh yes, we are. Yeah, but we've got a lot of ideas.
And the more active you personally are, the better as well.
Yes.
On top of that.
Yeah, because Facebook and Instagram are going to be our 2, possibly Snapchat, if it survives. I'm not 100%. It's surviving, but it's. I don't know who's on it anymore. I'm doing a lot of research about whether we should be there at all.
The wrong people are on Snapchat. That's all I want to say. I don't know if we want to be on there.
I love Snapchat. It's my favorite social media platform, but I'm the odd
That's my
one.
point.
Because you're Sydney, that's why.
Yeah. Plus, my 21-year-old lives on Snapchat. Actually, she's migrating more towards Twitter, but that was the only place that she was comfortable, because you can't be found on Snapchat unless you know somebody. So that was her place of being able to be pure and who she was. So you just go where the fish are. So her and I communicated with snaps, which is nice. And lots of fun.
Cool that you're that flexible.
We found out on her birthday that we are Snap OGs.
Oh.
And I said that to her, and she said, "Dad, you know what that means, right?" I went, "Yep, online gurus." She went,
No.
I said, "Oh, original gangsters, apparently."
Yeah.
So we both started snapping in 2013.
I didn't know it was out back then. It's
See,
been around for a while.
I'm a first adopter.
Yeah.
Yeah, okay. But Instagram and Facebook for sure. And as we get, we'll create a series of templates. So we'll have like the team logos and the icons and then overlays. And then, so probably 4 to 5 times a week, we would look to post on Facebook. Instagram, less to begin with, but more as we ramp it up. For Instagram, it's more about the hashtag and the following than it is the quantity. But Facebook, we just need, and then obviously, Kim, you shared the manuscript that you just printed. Once we start to get some posts and you start taking those posts on your business page and sharing them through, you're both, because I know, Paul, you're not on Facebook right now, right?
I have an account, yes.
But you took us a long sabbatical, though, right?
I only use Messenger. So.
In fact, Messenger's amazing. But but we would like to get you back on that.
Yeah, I will. Yeah.
And then we have to be super cautious of how we introduce the authorship into your LinkedIn, and then have a LinkedIn company page for the book launch in time as well. So we've got that penciled in to come up as well a little bit further down the road. But got Kim's story that we had a lot of fun with. I need to do the same call with Paul soon as well. And then we can get those 2 pieces for the authorship biographies and so on. And then we can beef up your own LinkedIns with that detail as well, without going into the book just yet, but just to make you much more accessible.
Yeah.
Okay. Great.
Awesome.
Also, for social, the blogs will give us something to work with, but also if you have a list of things that you're typically saying, like your isms, that's such a Ken thing to say, that's such a Paul thing to say. We'd love to get a list of your isms, so we can quote you, and then a list of authors that you love, or anything else we can use as content, movies that you follow. Let's just hear more from you about things we can use.
Okay.
And we can totally ride the movie thing. Actually, Captain Marvel's coming out, March 7th. Endgame is coming out April 26th. I mean, there's lots of stories that we could ride the back off.
Yeah,
Even some of the more classic sort of fiction. I'm trying to think. Most of my fiction's downstairs. I don't have much of it up here.
Yeah, because a lot of that, you've got the adults who are still interested in stories too, right? And you've got the kids.
Yeah. Like, there's a Tolkien movie coming out, isn't there?
Is it?
Yeah, there's actually the biography of Tolkien, which I didn't realize was coming out.
Oh, cool.
This was a book I loved reading. It's called The Inklings.
Mm-hmm.
And do you know the story?
Mm-mm.
But this is a pub in Cambridge that C.S. Lewis and Tolkien and 2 other authors used to meet every week and drink beer and talk stories, long before the Lord of the Rings trilogy and The Hobbit and Narnia and stuff came out. And this is the story of how they became authors. I love this book.
So cool.
Really? So things like that, you know, we could pick early stories of tradition. The J.K. Rowling story, being in a flat in Glasgow and single mom on welfare, and how she went through 19 different public. All these kind of stories we can add into the mix as well for content.
How Paul and I didn't even know each other until the book was written.
No kidding. Yes.
Fun. That's wild.
We didn't even meet until after the book was written.
The modern work story.
Because you just said you were telling me that, Kim, last week, that Paul just said, I'll write it with you.
Yeah.
Because this was not your original book, Kim, was it?
No, it wasn't the book that I wanted to write, but ultimately it was the book that we did write. Yeah.
Yeah, that's great. That's great.
You know, and I was telling Paul, I have been reading The Creative Mind. Oh, no. Wired to Create. And in the introduction to this book, it talks about how authors write a book and how it just comes to them. And there's some really cool things that they've identified in authors and how a book is written. And I was so excited when I read it, and I said, Paul, you got to read that introduction part because it's exactly what we did.
That's great. Love that.
It's amazing that you had the faith to just commit to it, and it's pretty cool.
And you did it fairly quickly.
Did.
I mean, that wasn't it. That was what, last August time you'd agreed to do that?
Oh, no. We
Get my timeline right.
It took us about a year to write the book.
Okay.
So Matrix was August of 2017. Paul and I actually started brainstorming and outlining, I think, that last quarter. And we started writing probably November, December, and then finished it a year later.
Yeah. Okay, I remember now. Yeah. So even that, the speed of...
But essentially, we had a rough draft in May.
Yeah.
When did we go to Paradigm Shift? When did we meet? That was May or June?
June.
We had a book printed,
Yeah.
You know, that we could read together.
Yeah.
Like all the chapters. We edited a lot and changed a lot, but yeah, so, you know, crazy.
So all these backstories. I know you sent me a picture of you two of you in a lobby in LA fairly recently. Do you have pictures of earlier meetings?
I wish we did, because we sat in the Delta premium passenger overlooking the tarmac reading our book.
Eating brownie bites and cheese.
Are you going to be through there again at any time?
Probably eventually.
but even next time you fly, just
get
just
some. Let's get some. Is what you're saying?
Yeah, okay. Nobody's going to know it wasn't, time stamped.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, we were just talking yesterday with a photographer. Nobody knows this yet, but you. We're going to have an agency shoot done here in April. And what they suggested was that we got all the seasons covered in one day. So we all brought red and white Canada T-shirts and ugly sweaters for Christmas, and we dressed the fireplace for Christmas, and then we went outside and did Canada Day, and we did all these shots on the same day. So we have a year's worth of photography to use in our marketing. So we could even get some photographs of you guys through the different seasons, through that year of writing. That could be very interesting.
Paul, did you hear him say the word photography?
I did, yes. Your favorite word.
My favorite too, Kim. Don't worry.
It has a paradigm.
Excuse me, Erin. I think you take photography.
Okay, so FYI, I scheduled my headshot and they called me and canceled it an hour later.
Why?
They did, and I paid for it and everything.
Wow.
No way. How rude. Well, come to Vancouver and I'll bring you to my friend. We'll Tobanize you.
Yeah, you're kidding.
Gosh. And all the really good pictures on my website were all done by the same photographer when I'm on stage. And all the stage ones of a family was done by another photographer. And you can tell when it's done properly.
Mm-hmm.
Makes a huge difference.
Mm-hmm.
And they know how to make you comfortable and look your best. And
Lose 10 pounds. And
yeah, well, no, not that you would want to lose anything, but you'll just love it. You'll have these beautiful, amazing pictures.
yes.
Okay, so that brings me back to deliverables coming up. What's going? And
Yes, Mom.
well, I mean, I'm sorry. Just like
That's great. That's why you're on the team, my friend.
So what's next? Yeah.
You're the PM. Okay. So we're going to put together a list of offers. We're going to put together a basic list of blogging to begin with. We're going to do the merchandising, gifting ideas of how we could roll that out. We'll put a timeline together of when we could start these posts and the drip campaign. So we actually have a calendar running as we did for this month to get everything built. So yeah.
We need, before we do a lot of that, we're going to need a few things from you guys. And so the opt-in, so we can talk about what that exclusive group looks like. Jonathan and I can write down the ideas that we've talked about today. You can add to that. We're just going to need a yes. And then some initial email, even one welcome email. I'm happy to edit it, but maybe if you could put your voice to it so that we can start getting things from you, even if we're going to continue in the future. A little bit from you right now would be awesome if you can find time for it. So welcome. We're really glad you joined. You know, in the future, whatever it is. And then I'll put the coming soon page. I'll put it live as long as you're happy with it. I'll send you the link to take a look on your own time. And then yeah, once it's live, then all the social media platforms will go live, and that's when we really start showing up. And those blogs, as soon as you maybe get your head around those ideas and think about what a timeline for you might look like, then we can work with that.
Okay.
Very exciting.
Lindsay, what happens like currently when people opt in to the coming soon page?
Yeah, so they get added to the drip email campaign, but there's no welcome. I mean, there probably is a standard welcome email.
Right. So
but based on your offer, we'd like to have a thank you page that welcomes them to the club, and then they get an email, right?
So we're not going to put the live page, the coming soon page. We're not publishing it until you and Jonathan and Kim and Paul have figured out what that opt-in is and set up the welcome email in drip that we've done on the back end. So we're doing that first before we're going live.
I don't think anybody would find it though.
No.
Yeah.
Live online right now, but we haven't attached your domain to it yet. Right?
I'm going to send the link to all my friends.
That's right.
You absolutely
And
will.
say, go see it right now.
I'll let us sign up, and then
Obviously, the website and everything is going to go into the manuscript when the book's printed.
Yes.
And we'll have the social pages and all those other pieces
Yes.
people can scan and find and stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So to go back to answer your question about posting time, frequency, etc. So it's, I guess, where else, and correct me if I'm wrong, Lindsay and Jonathan, Kim and Paul are welcome to go on and do their own posting when they see fit, but we're also creating posts from from the book, from the pieces that we're getting from blogging, from whatever we come up with. we're putting those also in and into a spreadsheet, sending them to Kim and Paul to approve, and we're posting that stuff on our own end as well. Besides, so it's not you guys coming up with every content piece for posting.
Yes, yeah, you're going to be more than willing and able to chip in. I mean, you've been seeing the boot camp and how we come up with those different ideas and so on. So yeah, for sure.
And then if you need to be brushed up on if you do want to post on Facebook or you want to post on Instagram, you want to know how the hashtags work, et cetera. And like Facebook doesn't like hashtags. Instagram's great for hashtags. Twitter's.
You can always start a post, tell me, and then we can jump in and we can enhance it as well.
Totally. Yeah, we can
and then
edit.
You'll have your own content calendar each month of so you can see what